I am going to get started. Basically, I'm going to introduce myself. I'm going to introduce a bit my practice, my method, and then we will talk a little bit about my inspirations, about the imagination, um, and sci-fi and visionary fiction. And then we're going to do a guided hypnosis session. It's going to be around 45 minutes. And then we will take a little bit of time at the end. I always like to leave some time for questions. Um, and also, if people want to just share anything about their experience at the end, that's also cool. But we're going to try and keep it within a 90-minute frame for sure, maybe even a little bit less, but uh, don't have a great track record for being less than that, but for sure within the 90-minute frame. Um, and just a note that I am recording this and I will make it available to all of you and also to people who registered and couldn't come and potentially to other people in the future. So normally it should just be recording my face and not the gallery view. And but if you have a question and you feel like you're not comfortable with being recorded, then you can just pop it in the chat and I will check the chat. But obviously, if you don't have any hesitations, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask a question. Um, and questions are very welcome. So, to begin then, my name is Julia, and I am an artist and a hypnotherapist. And I basically came across hypnosis about almost 10 years ago now. I originally used it to quit smoking, and then I came back to it a number of times over the years just because I was so fascinated with this method, with working with my own subconscious. It just felt like it kind of unlocked this door to this part of myself that I had never really accessed before. And once I was able to start working with it, um, honestly, everything just became a lot easier and a lot better for me and much uh, and I felt much more also empowered, like to be able to find strength within myself, to be able to vision a better future, better situations for myself. Um, and yeah, it's just basically had an enormous impact on my life. And that was just, as someone who was receiving hypnosis. And then I started working with it in my art practice. So I made a kind of science fiction audio drama performance, which was also about like exploring the future and exploring the universe. And there was I hired my then hypnotherapist at the time to work with me. Um, and then eventually in 2020, I studied clinical hypnotherapy under her for 2 years. So I am a clinical hypnotist with a certificate. And so at this point, I basically use hypnosis in all aspects of my life. So with music, art, installation, performances, radio, and then as well as group sessions, recordings, and one-on-one sessions, clinical sessions. So, but this is my first ever Zoom group session. So I've like never been this excited for a Zoom call before. And I will see how it goes. If it goes well, then I'll do it more often. Um, So if you have never experienced hypnosis before, it can be kind of described as like meditation with a mission. So basically, you kind of enter into a similar kind of a state where ideally you're not thinking about the outside world. The gaze is very internal, and some of the senses you're not really interacting with the outside world, but rather than being in this kind of open um, state of consciousness, you have a little bit more focus, and it's guided with some kind of goal, with an agenda. And generally speaking, so it really works with the subconscious to transform habits, behaviors, to be able to vision something differently, um, and also just to really harness this power of the imagination. So it's my belief that trance and that hypnosis is a natural ability that we actually all have, and it's also a skill. So you can get better at it with time. Sometimes the first time it's like anything. You have the innate ability, but it gets better as you practice it. Like we all have the ability to play the piano, but the more that you practice, the better you're going to be at it. But of course, it still works even if it's just your first time. But you can't get it wrong, and it's definitely not. I wouldn't advise you to kind of wonder if you are hypnotized or not. Just take it as an exploration, knowing that you can't do it wrong, and whatever happens is just exactly what was meant to happen. Um, Now, I've anybody does have experience with hypnosis, but not with the way that I do it. I will say that I have a kind of particular way of working, also because my background is not in science or in psychology, but in art. Um, so I'm much more drawn to the using the imagination to create things. So using a lot more visualization, metaphor, abstraction, narrative, and it's quite inspired also by nature. So having this, like coming from a lineage of hypnosis that's not informed by like Freudian or Jungian psychology, but more about kind of pan-cultural practices of trance, earth-based spirituality. Um, that being said, it's still a very powerful tool and can lead to some like really amazing transformations, as I mentioned, in terms of especially forming new habits, basically kind of making a new story for your life, breaking old patterns, disrupting old stories, and being able to create new ones. Because my another belief is that our lives are stories. Basically, we come based on what has happened in the past, based on our experiences, we develop stories, narratives about ourselves. And because our brains are wired for survival, uh, they often just keep playing out the same patterns, the same stories, the same kind of limiting beliefs because they're familiar and therefore they're safe, even if they're keeping you kind of stuck or not letting you advance, even if they're not the story that you want to be living. Um, and this is why it can be quite difficult by trying to alter these in a conscious state um, through repetition. It's possible, but with hypnosis, it allows us to kind of go directly into the subconscious where these stories are made, are kept, are played out, um, and create new neural pathways so that you can get comfortable with what you would like to see in your life. The subconscious mind is also a wonderful place for experimentation, for trying things out without the repercussions of or consequences or like uh, needing the resources of the real world. So it's a really wonderful way to try on a different identity, imagine your life in a different way. And if that is indeed what you want, to keep rehearsing it so that you can kind of ingrain this story into your life. And oh my God, okay, I'm gonna try not to be too long-winded. So basically, I have um, through the past years come up with kind of a method that has really incorporates my previous or ongoing interest research into science fiction, visionary fiction, speculative fiction, and kind of um, alternative world building, um, knowing that, like, yeah, we can't build what we can't imagine, which is definitely also like the kind of principle of visionary fiction. It's grounded in the now, studying the now, um, and then imagining something otherwise, oftentimes something very much otherwise, very different. Um, and knowing that kind of all great change has at one point been considered unrealistic or impossible even. And now we live in the reality of that. So this idea that like dreaming, fantasy, visioning, um, engaging with the imagination is not like escapism, and it's also, yeah, it's not just uh, like disconnecting, it's actually productive, it's actually building something. Um, I have, I made a quick diagram of basically this kind of structure, which I'm calling the strategy of futureness, but it's basically a method that I've come up with. I'm teaching a 4-week workshop, which starts in 2 weeks. And this is basically what it's um, based on. And but also this session that we're going to do today is also very much based on it. So let's see if I can share my screen. And if you have any questions, it would be a great time to pop them in the chat. Screen now. Perhaps it will work. I'm gonna like really rapid fire go through this so we can move on to experiencing it in hypnosis. So basically, this is a combination of the hero's journey and some piece of occult math called the Enneagram. Maybe you've heard about the Enneagram of personality. This is something a little bit different. I'm not going to be able to go into the whole thing right now, but basically, what we have is these 9 points. And I'm not going to go into explaining them too much, but it's basically the way that any story unfolds. So we start at the top, which is where we're at, the kind of first step in the ordinary world. Then we have this intention or a call to action. Something needs to happen to be changed. We introduce some tools and some resources. And then there's like a moving into the new world. So like there's some movement, there's some action, some moving towards. Then, of course, we have some limitations and some tests that will arrive. Then there's the kind of action, or what Joseph Campbell calls the ordeal. So this is where there's going to be some kind of death and rebirth. Something is going to be transformed. Then we come out of it. At the next point, we have experienced some transformation. We present this and celebrate it. And then there's like a moment of retention, and also what Joseph Campbell explains as returning with the elixir. So also sharing, bringing our own kind of self-development, our own work, our own goals to the world, to the people around us, something that's going to affect more than just us. And then it's cyclical, so it starts back again, but you're back again in the ordinary world. But of course, you're different. You have grown. You have evolved. So this can be basically applied to pretty much anything, like goal setting, starting a business, like a hypnosis session. Also, the whole workshop, and then actually even this session that we're doing now, everything follows this order, and it's always repeatable, and also it's fractal. So that is where this little broccoli comes in. So basically, like this kind of infinitely complex pattern that is always self-similar at any scale. So basically, your life also can be this this kind of diagram, this story, this pattern, but also the same thing can happen in one day. So basically, it's saying that the pattern repeats and looks similar at every scale. So that's why I think it's really useful. And I will say one thing about the triangle, which is also quite sacred geometry, just about balance. So the idea that like 2 is not balance, but 3 is balance. And especially in the workshop, we really go into manipulating time, different ways of understanding time, collapsing time. And we'll give you like very one quick kind of modality is this understanding time as a triangle. So the red line being active. So this is time spent creating based on what you know. The green line is passive, so that's time spent passively taking in new information, reading, watching, basically learning something. And the pink line is neutral. So this is time where nothing is really going in or out, but you can receive new knowledge that you would not have otherwise been able to learn. Knowledge that you couldn't read in a book, no one can give it to you. It comes from within or from the universe. So this time can be meditation, but it can also be something like exercise, like cleaning the house, doing the dishes, these moments where your body can be active, but your mind is neutral. Nothing's coming out, nothing's coming in. As long as you're not listening to something or a podcast or something, that's the idea that like the mind is open to receiving something knowledge that you would not be able to receive otherwise. Okay. And it's my also belief that hypnosis is kind of all 3 of these together. So we have the active, you're literally creating something in your mind, you're creating the images. It's passive in the way that I'm speaking to you. You are receiving some information, a story, and also it's neutral because your mind is in this space where you're not necessarily engaged, it's open to the subconscious mind, is open and available to new insights, to new ideas, and also to change. So that's all I have to say, and we're going to get started in the hypnosis session. And as I mentioned before, I can't do it wrong, but I do suggest that you just find yourself as comfortable as possible. If you have any questions, now is the moment. And just know that you are always in control of your own mind, of your own body. And if at any point you feel like you need to move around, you have to go to the bathroom, you want to take a glass of water, you are going to be totally able to do that. And you can just also really engage at your own desire. So if you feel like you're not so sure about hypnosis yet and you want to just kind of listen and keep your eyes open, that's totally fine. And if you are interested in kind of experiencing the trance state and going on a little bit of a deeper journey, then just get yourself comfortable and listen to my voice and do as I suggest. So you should ideally be in a place where your body is supported. So in a chair or even laying down if you don't think you'll fall asleep. And we'll get started. All right, so I invite you to get as comfortable as possible. And you can either allow your gaze, your eyes to focus on something beyond the screen that's not moving. Just easily finding a spot for your eyes, your gaze to fix. And just taking a deep breath and beginning to allow, to invite your gaze, your attention to move towards the interior. To allow everything in the outside world, everything outside of yourself to kind of fade into the background. Just as if you're kind of adjusting the focus on a camera. And the focus is moving towards the inside, and everything else is just fading out of focus into the background. And you can allow your attention to move to your breath without needing to adjust it, control it, change it in any way. Just noticing. And you can even notice the kind of pattern of your own rise and fall of your chest and the beating of your own heart. And allow each breath to bring you more and more relaxed. And feeling your eyes, your eyelids already starting to feel a little bit heavy. And if you like, you can go ahead and close the eyes. I'm just taking this as an invitation to become even more relaxed, 10% more relaxed now. Now feeling each time you breathe, it can be like a wave of relaxation, moving through the whole body, in through the nostrils, moving through the whole head, around the brain, around the ears, down the neck, through the chest, filling up the lungs and the rib cage, feeling the shoulders as they become so heavy now. And then feeling this wave, this sweet relaxation move down for all the internal organs, through the pelvic bowl, around the hips, through the thighs, down around the knees, down through the shins and the calves, and out through the feet, the soles of the feet and the toes. I'm just feeling each breath bring you this wave of relaxation, and allowing each exhale to bring you a sense of softening, of letting go. Feeling yourself more and more supported by your seat. And feeling this melty feeling, this softening of any tension on each exhale, just letting it go. Enjoying the sensation of being able to let go. And now that your body is becoming so relaxed, inviting the mind to also relax, peeling back, allowing this the conscious mind, the thinking mind, the critical mind, to soften, to relax this mind you use all day, every day, to just kind of hang out in the background, to take a little break for these few moments of guided hypnosis. And just observe as the subconscious mind, the deep mind, the creative mind, the imagination floats up towards the surface, emerges from the center, and becomes more available, more open to any insights, any positive suggestions, any ideas, any divine downloads, maybe. And feeling already as your subconscious mind opens and feels sense of excitement and curiosity and openness and willingness to change. And in a moment, I'll count you down from 10 to 1, and on 1, you'll be in a deep hypnotic rest, the subconscious mind open and available. But first, I'd like you to begin to imagine that you're seated in a beautiful, lush forest. And allow this forest to kind of create itself around you. Maybe imagining your back up against a tree, some kind of beautiful mosses, squishy mosses underneath you, a canopy of branches and leaves, up ahead, above. And just taking this moment to feel kind of a part of this environment, this feeling of non-separation, this feeling of being supported by these big old trees, the sun moving, making beautiful patterns through the leaves, and feeling ready for a little adventure. And I'm going to count you down from 10 to 1. And on 1, you'll be in a deep hypnotic rest, ready for any insights, any ideas that may arise. And the more that you focus on the sound of my voice, the more and more relaxed you become. And the more and more relaxed you become, the more you're able to easily focus on the sound of my voice, starting with the number 10. 10 and 9. 9 and 8. 8 and 7. Deeper and deeper, more and more deeply relaxed, easily focused on the sound of my voice, feeling so soft and so supported in this beautiful forest. 7 and 6, you're doing great, easily focused on the sound of my voice, deeper and deeper now. 5 and 4, 4 and 3, 3 and 2, 2 and 1. Feeling yourself so relaxed, soft, taking a nice, deep, relaxing breath and feeling once more this wave of relaxation move through the body. And now I'll invite you, as you're laying here, seated here in this forest, just begin to bring up, to allow to arise any kind of desires for self, any goals, any ambitions that have been important to you lately, something maybe that you've already been thinking about quite a bit, or maybe something completely new just pops up now. Whatever it is, it's just perfect. I'm just holding that intention here. And then I'll invite you to notice that you have with you a little velvet sack, a small sachet, and it has inside 3 gemstones. Maybe they're crystals, semi-precious stones, even rocks, normal stones, whatever they are, it's just perfect. The feeling that you have a little sack, little velvet, soft little sack with 3 small stones inside. And knowing that these 3 stones each represent, each signify an accomplishment that you have accomplished, that you've reached in the past year or so, in the recent past. And so going ahead and pulling out the first stone out of this little bag, this little sack, and seeing this stone and noticing the details, the color, the shape, and knowing that this holds a goal, an accomplishment, something that you manage to fulfill, as small or as large, as personal or as public as it may be, and whatever comes up first is just perfect. And just acknowledging this, as we so rarely do acknowledge the things that we accomplish. And as you look at this stone and all its complexities, it's kind of prismatic or maybe very smooth, but as you see this stone, seeing there also what was required of you to accomplish this. What tools, what resources, what skills were required of you, did you need to accomplish this? And then taking out the second stone now. And again, noticing the shape, the color, maybe even the weight, how it feels in your hand, and feeling this stone as another accomplishment, a goal. Could be professional, personal, relational, and knowing that it holds the tools that you needed to accomplish it, to reach this. And then taking out the third stone and seeing it again, what a color, shape, form, everything about it. And without thinking, without judgment, just allowing it to come to you. What accomplishment, what desire, what fulfilled wish this stone represents for you. And allowing it to hold also the tools, the resources, the skills required, whether it was perseverance or intelligence, kindness, patience, understanding, good communication, whatever it is. And then just kind of feeling these stones and everything that they mean, all that they represent for you, and feeling a sense of pride, acknowledgement, and then putting these gemstones, these stones, crystals back in this little sack and holding on to it, maybe in your pocket, and feeling how now you know that you're ready for a new adventure. Feeling kind of equipped with these tools that you need. And so setting off into this beautiful forest, then you'll notice there's kind of an orb of light. I'm walking on this path through the forest towards this unknown light source. And feeling that as you get closer, this orb of light is growing in size, and realizing that this light, this orb, is actually a portal. And allowing yourself to feel very curious and excited about what could be on the other side. And so if you like, and if you accept, I'll invite you to just go ahead and move through the portal, knowing that what's on the other side is going to be a kind of rift in the time-space continuum. It's going to be a world in the very near future, not so far off in time, but that's very different. That's much more suited to you and your imagination and your desires. And so going ahead and stepping into this portal of light, this rift, this orb, and feeling yourself come out the other side, feeling the light as it completely changes, a kind of light that you've never experienced before, blanketing this new space. And seeing in front of you this kind of new world, an alternate universe. And knowing that it's in the future, but it's not so far in the future that you would think it would warrant such enormous changes. And without needing to worry about every detail, just kind of noticing what's there. It's still a kind of forest, naturescape? Are you in a metropolitan city, or is it kind of a combination of the two? Maybe a biophilic city, or some kind of jungle world, whatever it is, it's just perfect, and not needing to worry about any of the details. But walking towards this new space, but in a moment, you're going to approach a very large gate, a big fence, a huge barrier, a big giant fence that kind of stops you in your path, that prevents you from exploring further, from reaching deep into this new world. And allowing this fence, this barrier, to be the limitations that you put on yourself, that you maybe inherited, that have somehow come up for you, that have maybe blocked you in the past from dreaming from moving forward. Maybe this gate includes perfectionism or procrastination. Maybe it's some limiting beliefs, some self-doubt, fear. But just knowing what this barrier, this fence, this big gate is made of. And just even without needing to get too caught up or to re-experience it, just kind of knowing times in the past in your real life where you have also come up against this huge barrier, this gate, this fence that makes everything feel just a little bit out of reach. And just being able to identify what that's made of. And however it appears to you is just perfect. Knowing that you can just see it without needing to feel it so deeply. You can just witness, kind of objectively noticing what barriers, what limitations have been set up in between you and what you want. And in a moment, I'm going to get you to put your hand back in that little velvet sack that you had with the stones. And you'll see that there's also a key. So going ahead and even feeling this key in your hand now, that you've just found the key with all of these other tools and resources that you've been holding on to. Maybe you even forgot that you have this key. Maybe you've had it all along. Or maybe it's just manifested for you now. And even feeling this energy of this key as it moves up, the power of this key that's going to unlock this gate of limitation. So just feeling the power of this key in your hand and feeling it as it can even kind of shoot up the hand, the forearm, around the elbow, the arm, through the shoulder and into the chest, filling up the heart space, the head, moving through the whole body now, kind of supercharging you with the power to move forward, to continue to open. So going ahead on 3 and 2, 2 and 1, putting this key into the keyhole of this huge gate connected to this big fence and turning it, feeling it open so easily, so smoothly, just simply pushing with a small, tiny bit of effort and having this gate open. And not only does the gate open, but seeing this entire gate, this whole structure, this fence, as it just crumbles in front of you. Knowing that there doesn't need to be a gate there at all. And then continuing down the path. And maybe even now that you can kind of enter into the center of this new place, seeing maybe who's there, people in your life that inspire you, people you care for, maybe mentors, teachers, friends, role models, students, peers, people who belong in your alternate universe, your kind of other space, your near future, your supercharged future. And then seeing in front of you on this path, someone walking towards you that's very familiar. And in fact, this is the future you. But not only is it the future you, it's kind of the like sci-fi supercharged you. And feeling them approach you with a big smile, welcoming, and just taking a moment to really look at this future version of you, this possibility, this version of you who has dreamed very big and created everything that they wish for, who has been brave, who has pushed through, who has accomplished everything that you have your eye on now, who has this life that you desire. And seeing what their energy, what their vibe is like. They're happy and laughing, calm, kind of zen, serene, confident and strong, soft and loving. And seeing if they have anything to say to you, a message from this future you. Could be a question, an idea, some advice, even just a vibe, whatever it is. Maybe it's literally a smile or a wink, but some kind of transmission. And then they're going to give you a gift, a perfect, precious stone full of power, of strength, of whatever it is, their energy that they exude, their particular vibe, their particular energy radiating from them as if it could be captured in this perfect precious stone. And so accepting it from them, feeling it in your hand, seeing the color, the shape, feeling how it fits into your palm. And just knowing that you now holding on to this power, to the exact elixir needed to move forward in your life, to become this person. And then saying thank you and saying see you soon. Taking one more look in the eyes of this future you. Breathing in their energy. Accepting this gift. And then saying see you soon. And carrying on and knowing that now that you have been to this amazing new universe, now that you've received this powerful gift, you can come back to the old world, the normal world, to your life, but with this new sense of power, this new resource, this clarity, this vision. And so imagining yourself now moving back through the portal. And as you move back through the portal, you can see yourself in the coming days, weeks, and months. What actions you're going to take, how you will move differently through the world now. And also giving some attention to how you will share this gift, this precious, powerful stone, this energy with those in your life, how you achieving your goals will also improve the lives of others around you. Seeing how you can share your power, how you achieving your goals, you living your life to fulfillment will affect, influence others. And it can be in a very concrete or an abstract way, whether it's the people closest to you or the entire world, just seeing how your desires, your power fits in to the larger picture. And feeling this sense of excitement to move through life with less limitations, with this new energy, all of these new resources. As you move back through this portal and finding yourself now back in that forest where you started, but feeling completely transformed, knowing that you've seen the vision and ready to share it ready to move forward towards future you, becoming them, embodying them each and every day, moving forward. So taking another deep breath, breathing in this energy, this change, this transformation, feeling all that you've gained through this little adventure, and feeling a sense of excitement to move forward. And in a moment, I'm going to count you back up from 1 to 5, and on 5, you will be in a deep, you will be back in this space, feeling deeply wonderful. You'll be back in this day, but with a new understanding of what's possible, a new concept of time. So in a moment, I count you back up from 1 to 5, and on 5, you will be back in your space, back in this day, in this evening, but feeling so much better, feeling so much lighter, feeling a sense of excitement. So starting with the number 1, 1 and 2, feeling yourself come back into your body, into your space. 2 and 3, back in this day, bringing some movement back to maybe the fingers and the toes. 3 and 4, slowly making some movement, finding yourself back in your space. 4 and 5, slowly opening the eyes, awake and aware, back in this day, back in this evening, feeling wonderful, feeling so much lighter, feeling ready to move forward in your day, in your life, with a new understanding of what's possible and a new relationship to time. All right, so it's normal to need a couple of minutes to kind of reorient yourself and maybe stretch, take a glass of water. We have about 20 minutes to kind of come back to have a little discussion if you like, and ask any questions, share anything. So take your time to kind of return to the day or the evening, depending on where you are. And whenever you want, if you'd like to, yeah, pop your camera on or your mic, You are very welcome to share anything you experienced, to ask any questions, or basically make any comments at all. This was just kind of a moment for reflection.
Yeah, I can say something. Can I jump in? Um,
Please.
I found that was really great. Like I really did feel like I went into a hypnosis. Like I've only done that. I've only been hypnotized but once before. And yeah, I felt very relaxed and it was super easy to follow. And it was cool also to hear the bowl that you have, like even though the frequency is weird via Zoom, but it still had an effect I found. Like it's interesting. It was really cool. Thanks for that.
Great.
Mm, I am also just gonna jump in if that's okay. So I'm really happy because I now have this like little stone with me that's like this beautiful gray stone with like a hole in it. And it feels like, yeah, there's something, I feel like it's significant to have this. And this is something that'll be meaningful and continue to be like a meaningful symbol that I can have that represents uh, this part of my imagination. So I really appreciate that. It was such a colorful journey to go on with you. Thank you for guiding us through that.
Great. Of course. Yeah, I think I love to always try and connect it to something that, yeah, people experience. Like, I mean, just good to make these connections between our real life and our subconscious as like a little reminder. And yeah, I have like quite a collection of stones, and also this session is kind of like very lightly inspired by a Samuel L. Delaney short story called Time as a Helix of Semi-Precious Stones, um, where basically time is measured by semi-precious stones. Like they don't have months, they just have like topaz or like uh, granite, and so it yeah also creates this idea of time, and I just love the way that I mean a stone can carries actually so much significance. So it's great that you have one. I mean, most I think hope that most people will have some kind of stone that maybe they can also connect this to. I will say for me, it's a little bit strange to do this like with a group on Zoom when so many of you have your cameras off, which I totally understand. But it like really, yeah, creates this. It's a little bit more like radio where you like don't know if you're reaching people. Uh, and yeah, like what's, any of you could have just been like off making a snack or whatever, whereas usually I can much more gauge if people are into it. Thank you, Diana and Valerie, for keeping your cameras on so that I could at least have some idea of who I'm directing this to. But also, I totally understand to not have your camera on. It's just it's like a funny phenomenon that I wasn't expecting. Well, we have a few minutes left, and I welcome you to just put something in the chat, turn on your camera and your microphone, or just your microphone or just your camera at any moment. But um, if in the meantime, if you're kind of taking some time, just to like leave some space for people to contribute, I will also just kind of mention the different ways of working with me. So basically, as I mentioned, I'm starting a workshop in 2 weeks on February 19th called The Strategy of Futureness. So it's very much based on this method that I described to you, and now you've experienced, um, yeah, kind of the way that I do it. And then with the fractal theme, kind of we will apply this formula to each of the points on the diagram. So like we will do a full session around limitations. We'll do a full session where we come back and share what we are doing, and it basically, yeah, through the 4 weeks moves through the kind of full cycle so that you're back at the beginning. And the structure is pretty similar to this. So in 90 minutes, there'll be like a lecture, some tools, and a guided hypnosis session. And then each week, there's also some homework of a recorded hypnosis session and some self-hypnosis, which I will teach, and some like optional readings. So it's like uh, 4 weeks of like twice a week uh, hypnosis and daily self-hypnosis. Um, and then I have a little membership where I uh, send you hypnosis recordings monthly. I have a little arsenal of self-hypnosis recordings on my web shop where you found this. And then I do also one-on-one sessions, which are kind of similar to this, but of course really tailored to your individual needs. Um, so lots of ways to work with me. And then I'm making hypnotic art, performances, installations, music. And if you're in Brussels, Diana and I do monthly group hypnosis sessions in person, and Diana does a beautiful soundtrack. Um, so I won't. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Kat, for sharing in the chat. Beautiful to hear about your stones. I always love to hear about what people have going on in their imagination. Oh wow, the stone has been a recurring theme in your hypnosis experiences. Okay. Well, I'm not going to keep you longer if unless there's anything else that someone wants to share, this would be the moment. Otherwise, I will keep you posted about my future sessions. I will definitely do this again. I'm not sure if I will do it monthly or semi-monthly or just kind of randomly, but um, I will definitely let you know since you signed up for this. I have your email address and I can keep you in the loop about future sessions. And thank you. Yeah, so many of you that don't know me or my work to pop on here and just take take a chance on a hypnotic sci-fi journey. Um, it's really wonderful to share this with you. All right, well then I'm going to end the call. So thanks a lot. I hope you have a great rest of the day or a great evening, and I will hope to see you next time. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, thank you.